Okay. All right. So it says I'm live, and that means I need my code and to turn that volume off. And actually, just to pause that, share, copy, and then here I need add custom code. Sorry, guys, give me just a second and I will be ready to get started for today. Uh-oh. Okay, there's that, and then you can come up here. And then, okay, sorry it's taking me a little while to get going here, guys, but this is the process I have to go through. Let's see, cut, boom, save, to get set up to bring this to you on in my curriculum where I'm offering this program. All right, here we go. All right, so that's done. All right. Hi, my name is Crystal Lynn Bell, and I'm a spiritual life coach. And this program that we're doing right now, this live stream, is called Planting Your Prosperity Garden. And what I'm doing in this 3-day series, and this is the final day of the 3-day series, is I'm teaching and talking to spiritual life coaches to be, or people who desire to be healers and spiritual life coaches. I'm having a very candid conversation with you all about what it takes to be a spiritual life coach, what it takes to start your own business, to launch yourself in this way. And I want to share my journey with you and encourage you. I want to encourage you to follow this divine calling, which I know comes from your soul. But I also want to paint a very realistic picture of the work that you need to do in order to have success in spiritual life coaching as not just a career, but a vocation, an expression of yourself. And for me, it's really important that I be really honest with you, because I don't want you to have any illusions as you're going into this. And here's the thing. When I first chose to do this, I did it wrong. I did. I made a lot of mistakes. Um, Being the woman that I am, I just did it my way. And I suffered a lot needlessly. And I don't believe that you need to suffer. Like, eh, look, we're going to suffer because we're human and we kind of like suffering. There's something about suffering, our minds, this egoic human mind thing has some kind of a template inside it for suffering. Okay. But I like to think that we can break the mold on that and at least minimize our suffering. Okay. And certainly establishing your spiritual life coaching business doesn't need to require you to suffer at all. For me now, well, even when I was suffering, it was a joy. It's just that I had unrealistic expectations, and I didn't have the full picture of what it takes in order to be a spiritual life coach. And now, hindsight is 2020. Looking back, I understand that the thing I was missing was the big picture and the help I needed to put all of those individual pieces into place. Now I know what those pieces are. And so, yes, my business is thriving. So, yes, I am a six-figure coach. And that's really exciting. And yes, I have my blog that's working and I know my material. Like I have the depth of understanding so that I'm able to actually bring the transformation that I promise people. Here's the thing, if you want to have that spiritual life coaching experience that feels authentic to you, you have to be authentic to you. And this is another one of the big mistakes I made when I became a spiritual life coach. I thought that I should be big and important now. And I don't mean that I was insignificant. It's just I didn't know at the depth that I know now. It's been 8 years. I know a lot now, and my depth of understanding of spiritual principles and working with people and what they need and concepts and applying these things to people's lives, my depth is much more profound now. Of course, it's been 8 years of doing this nonstop, learning, studying, building, integrating, watching thousands of people, right? Great. The thing that's important, I believe, to understand as a beginning spiritual life coach is to stay in your lane, to understand what it is that you have to offer and to offer from that place, not from the future you place, which is exactly what I did. I offered from the future me's place, or I tried to offer from the future me's place. 8 years ago, I thought I knew what I know now. But I couldn't help it. I was seduced. I was seduced by all the people that I really admired, like Esther Hicks, Teal Swan, Byron Katie, even just thought thinkers and philosophers, like watching all these people on YouTube, Greg Braden, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Oprah Winfrey, watching all these wonderfully successful people really inspired me. And I would look at someone like Teal Swan and Esther Hicks, and I'd see them so graceful and so strong. And the thing that really got me was that they were the masters of the information that they were giving. That mastery is what I wanted 8 years ago or 9 years ago when I first started this. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be a master. Oh my God, it takes 10 years to be a master, right? That's what they say. It takes 10 years or 10,000 hours. Is that what it is? No, 1,000 hours. No, it's much more than 1,000 hours. Sorry, it must be 10,000 hours. Okay, forget that statistic. Okay, because I'm certainly not a statistical master in statistics. But the thing that I saw as a student of spirituality and a student of Abraham Hicks, a student of Teal Swan, a student of Byron Katie, a student of all these people, the student of Oprah Winfrey, right? Looking at Oprah thinking, how does she do all that? Like, she's so in command. She's got so much presence. She knows so much. She makes such big decisions. She's such a big thinker. She helps so many people. Loving what I was seeing and inspired by all that. And knowing, okay, don't get me wrong, I wasn't stupid. I knew that those people worked hard. But the thing that I didn't understand was what they worked hard at. You know, you look at someone like Oprah, and she's so diverse, um, from her talk shows to her movies, to what she's doing now with her spiritual movements and writing books. She's really, really diverse. And what I thought back then was that, oh yes, you just do all these things and all these inspirations that come to you, all these great ideas that come to you. You just do all these things that come to you. And the problem is that actually know you can't do all the things that come to you unless you're Tim Ferriss, okay? He does a lot of things too. He's also very diverse. Um, but what I mean is, what I did was to try to do all the different great ideas that came to me. And like you, I have been blessed with many, 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 many different ideas and concepts and things that I could see, and I could imagine these things happening and doing them. And it feels good when the ideas are coming through. And I think the thing I want you to take away from this little conversation is that there are, we're living in an age of the open crown chakra, the open third eye. We're receiving information, and we're in the information age. There's, the internet, and things are coming to us fast and furious. Mastery requires dedication, commitment, tenacity, focus, commitment, grit, commitment, um, resilience, and commitment, meaning you have to stick to it. And we live in an age where we don't have to stick to things. The problem when we don't stick to things is that we don't go deep, and we lose the rich connection and the rewards of ripe fruit that has been nurtured on the vine. When you go to the farmer's market or the grocery store, and you go and you see the peaches, right? It's spring, late spring, and you see the first crop of peaches, or you see a crop of peaches. I don't know if they're the first crop. All I know is you see some peaches, and they're kind of little, and they're a little bit green, but they smell real good. And you're like, ooh, peaches. And you're like excited because you've been all in winter, with turnips and parsnips and root vegetables, potatoes. And you're like, I want to see me some summer fruit. Want some strawberries, summer fruit. You see those peaches, and those peaches were picked too soon. You know the difference. What I'm trying to say is, the difference between a peach that was picked too soon and a peach that was left to vine ripen. And that peach is heavy with juice. It smells good. It's got a texture, like you can just feel the vibrancy in that peach, right? It's the same. That's mastery. What I'm trying to say is that peach is mastery. And the other peach smells really good. And when you bite into it, gosh darn it, you wanted some fruit so badly. You're like, I really wanted some fruit. And that peach tastes okay, but that's not the peach of summer, where the heat is coming up from the earth, and the roots are taking up all the sweetness, and the sun is shining, and the life force energy in that peach is just so there. It's evident, and you cut it open, and the juice is running all over the cutting board, and you're like, damn, I'm losing that juice. I gotta sop that up. I'm gonna pick that. You know what I'm talking about, right? That's what mastery is. And in order to reach mastery, you really do have to commit to just hanging in there. You have to commit to doing all the small details that are tedious. Sometimes it's not all tedious. Sometimes it's big picture, broad strokes, big steps, swift movement. But other times, in order to have the rich depth of understanding that you want, you have to do these tiny little things that make things wonderful, right? That are the icing on the cake. So, yesterday in the program, I gave you all a really big exercise. And I kind of woke up this morning thinking, God damn it, I should not have given that big old heavy exercise to people to do, because number one, y'all gonna think I'm either crazy, because that exercise was huge, or it could scare you because it was so huge, or it would scare you because you just didn't get it. Like, why are you having us do this? The thing is, that exercise proves my point. That exercise was for you to be able to understand what you do have to offer. Now, if you've never done this work before, you have to tell us, your audience, what you have to offer. And if you just start saying, oh, well, I'm a good person and I've raised 6 kids and blah, blah, blah. And this is why I am going to be a good spiritual life coach. You might be correct. And actually, I know you're correct, but it's not as easy as you just sitting here on video and saying, I'm going to be a good spiritual life coach for you, and here's why. Okay, it's not that simple. You have to develop your own relationship with yourself as a spiritual life coach before you can actually become a spiritual life coach. Before you can help me as a spiritual life coach, you have to develop your relationship with yourself as a spiritual life coach, your own story, helping you yourself understand why your story is important. Why is it important that you've raised 6 kids? I can look at you and tell you what your story is because I already get it. But for the average person who's just kind of looking for something really quick on the internet, they're not going to have the time to, take you all in. So you have to be able to actually tell your story with depth and to help us understand you as a spiritual life coach so that we can see ourselves reflected in you as a spiritual life coach. If I'm going to be coached by you, I have to see me inside of you. Now, what I want to see from a spiritual life coach is the me reflected that has the answers. I need to know that you have the answers, right? Totally makes sense. You, as the spiritual life coach, have to know that you have the answers. And that's what yesterday's exercise was all about. Taking every one of those 3 different parts of your life, infant, um, school age, adulthood, those 3 parts of your life, and understanding, pulling out the richness of your story, letting spirit guide you, but also then taking responsibility for the gifts that spirit is giving you and doing all those extra steps. How did I cope with this? How have I healed this? What's the result of this? Here's the thing, if that exercise intimidated you, then you probably shouldn't be going into spiritual life coaching. Those questions, what was the problem? How did I cope with it? How did I heal it? What are the results? That's what you have to do for clients, for people. When you're a spiritual life coach, you have to look at their problems and understand them at their core, at the core. You have to understand where the coping mechanisms have kicked in and are hiding the divinity behind the coping mechanisms. You have to then understand what healing needs to be done so that this coping mechanism can be broken through and the divine being that's inside can shine forth. And then you, of course, have to know how to help a person bring forth that divinity. We think that, oh, yeah, I'm divine. Here I am. The next step is, now what do I do? And a lot of people are like, hey, yeah, what do I do now? Now that I realize I'm divine, what am I supposed to do? And then what they'll do is they'll go right back into the old cycle of what they were doing before. And we, as spiritual life coaches, want to stop them from doing that. We want to help them not make that mistake, right? We don't want them to go back to the old way. We want them to go forth with eyes open. But how do they go forth with eyes open? They've still got to go to the same job. They still have to go to look at their family and friends. They're in their same room. How do they interact with, the people that are around them while they're having this new vision? That's for us as spiritual life coaches to do. And if we are unwilling to do that work for ourselves as spiritual life coaches, then what business do we have offering to do it for somebody else and asking them to get paid? Now, I'm open-minded, okay? I'm willing to believe that there are spiritual life coaches out there that do not have to walk their talk. They get to lie and cheat and lie, all right? Go on with your bad self. Lie and cheat and lie, okay? Don't walk your talk. But me and the people that come to me that are in my program that are learning spiritual life coaching from me, rule number one, you got to walk that talk. And every single day, this is a 10-month program, every single day that you are in program with me, I'm going to be like, is that your talk that you're walking? Or is that somebody else's talk? What are you doing right now? Where is this doubt coming from? Then we're going to address that doubt. Then we're going to then move forward, right? So, in order to be a spiritual life coach, you don't have to be perfect. As a matter of fact, your imperfection is going to be the thing that draws so many people to you and helps you help so many people. But you do have to be willing to do your own work. And part of your own work is examining your own story and taking responsibility for all of your own suffering, your pain, et cetera, not to fix it. You don't need to be fixed, but for you to have a relationship with it where you are the loving, nurturing parent of your wounded, brokenhearted parts. You need to be a leader. Starts with you. That's what yesterday's exercise was all about. All right, so today, hold on one second. I'm going to just tune into myself and see what else wants to come forth because I feel very open today. Like I want to. Let me pause for a moment and go inside. I feel like one of the things that I'd like for us to do today is to share your story. So I'm going to give you an assignment. And when you're done with this assignment, I'd like for you to email it to me. So for this assignment, I'm going to ask you to, well, it's easier for me since you're going to email it to me. It's easier if you actually will do it digitally. So do it on your computer in a Word, Microsoft Word, or Google Docs. That would be great. But I basically want you to take one of those stories that you wrote from yesterday, one of your brand authority stories that you did from the assignment, and I want you to finish it. And I want you to what I'm going to do is ask you to send me your bio. Okay, I want you to write it as a bio and then send it to me. And I want you to there were 3 brand authority stories and there were 4 questions. Were there 4? It's coping, healing, results, right? Well, yeah, it was the story, the coping, the healing, and the results. Okay, so there are 3 sections that you have to that you had to do. You took one story, you said how you'd cope with it, how you coped with it, how you the results, and then how you healed it, and then the results. What I'd like to invite you to do is to write a blog post, an official, beautifully expressed, beautifully meaning beautiful according to you. Your expression is beautiful. I want you to express yourself at your highest level. That does not mean that I expect a grammatically perfect thing. I do expect that you're going to spell check and you're going to put your punctuation. You're not going to have the end of a sentence and then a space and then two periods, because that's just careless. Okay. I'm not, don't send me something that's careless, right? Just give me one of your stories, but I want you to give me this story as if you mean it. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because that assignment I gave you yesterday, I gave it to you to do on your own. And I know that sometimes when I give stuff to people to do on their own, they kind of just half-ass it. What I'm doing today is challenging you to actually put your money where your mouth is, right? I want to be a spiritual life coach. I want to take this seriously. And so what I want you to do is to complete one of those stories. Okay, the last step of that exercise was to complete 2 to 5 of those stories, right? I want you to complete one of them and have it to me by Sunday of this week, which is the 15th, I do believe. Sunday is the 15th. Email it to me at crystalline@badassbutterfly.com. And then I want to read that, and then I'm going to give you some feedback. Okay, we'll arrange to talk together the following week, next week. Okay, so that's going to be your assignment for now. Okay, so we're going to close with you finishing one of those stories. Okay, and this is your brand authority. This is basically you taking one piece of your trauma and celebrating it. You're celebrating it by telling its story and sharing it with me. And then you and I will talk about it in detail next week when we meet. All right? Okay. So, that is all I have to say for right now. I'm done with this planting your prosperity garden. I might bring this back with another in a few months with a new kind of a new spin. I really like this series, and I love the feedback from the people that the feedback that I've been getting from the people who are watching. It feels helpful, and that makes me very happy. So I'm going to just very quickly recap, okay, just to make sure that this is clear. You've now told your story, or you've now started exploring your story with the brand authority stories, right? Right, on the Treasury of Boasts form that we did yesterday. What I want you to do now is to take one of those stories that you did and to finish it, to really put your heart and soul into telling the story. And then I want you to answer those 3 questions. I want to see all 3 of those questions in this story. So this is that, it's, so as I said, it's in the last part of the form, which is that writing the actual stories. You should have the story and those 3 questions in that story. Okay, so in your story, you're going to have answered the coping mechanism, the healing you did, and the result, right? On top of telling me what it is that you have, what you overcame, what you suffered, okay, and then what you've overcome. All right, excellent. So, this is Crystalline Bell signing off. If you want to check out my spiritual life coach certification for Badass Butterflies program, there's a link in the description of this video. And yeah, I look forward to talking to you whenever you're ready to make the big leap. All right, signing off for now. Thanks for watching.